There is a kind of silence more powerful than shouting, a presence more commanding than noise, a man who speaks little but moves like a storm. That is a man the world remembers, because talk is easy, action is sacred, and in the end, it's not the thunder in your voice that breaks the mountains. It's the lightning in your hand. We've grown up in a world that worships volume, where everyone's got a microphone, but few carry meaning. Everyone's making noise, but almost no one is moving mountains. You can talk about your dreams for a lifetime, but one quiet moment of relentless action can shake the earth. The warriors of the old ways knew this truth. They didn't boast before the battle. They prepared. They didn't declare victory before they earned it. They trained. They didn't roar like thunder to be heard. They struck like lightning to be remembered. And so I ask you, are you here to echo in empty halls? Or are you here to ignite something the world can't put out? Because every time you open your mouth, you spend power. But every time you move with intent, you build it. Power isn't always loud. It's often quiet, watching, waiting. It lives in the stillness before the strike, not in the chaos of performance. The oak tree doesn't explain itself to the wind. It stands. And in a world addicted to talking, those who act become legends. Don't be the person who posts 100 plans and finishes none. Don't be the one who screams about discipline but hits snooze at dawn. The path of greatness is not paved with promises. It's carved in silence, through sweat and execution. Stillness is not weakness. It's control. It's the understanding that the strongest storms begin without warning. And you are a storm waiting for release. But only if you choose to be. Let them underestimate you. Let them think your quiet is cowardice. Let them mistake your silence for surrender. Because belief isn't something you broadcast. It's something you become. You don't need their applause to build. You don't need their permission to rise. And you sure as hell don't need to explain yourself to people who've never walked the fire you're walking. The eagle doesn't argue with the crow. It flies higher. You don't win by shouting louder. You win by rising above. Belief is forged in your darkest moments. When no one's watching, when your knees hit the ground, and you whisper to the dirt, "I am not finished yet." Because real belief doesn't need a crowd. It needs courage, and courage is always silent, right before it explodes. The arrow doesn't tell the world where it's going. It just goes. Focused, fast, deadly. And yet so many drift through life without a target, without a reason, without a sense of why they were even given breath. You don't need 20 years to find purpose. You need 10 honest minutes alone with yourself. No distractions, no lies. Just the fire you've been avoiding and the truth you've been burying. What if your silence is not failure, but focus? What if your lack of noise is not fear, but direction? You were not made to speak endlessly of someday. You were made to become the answer, to walk into rooms and shift the air with your intention, not your ego. Every tree began as a silent seed. So go deep before you go loud. Anchor your purpose before you chase applause. Discipline is the sharp edge of lightning. It doesn't ask for motivation. It moves anyway. It wakes before dawn, trains in the dark, builds in silence, and delivers impact without warning. The ancient ones did not have planners or likes. They had rhythms. They had rituals. They rose with the sun and honored their word like it was life itself. So what about you? Do your actions echo your intentions? Or are your goals just thunder, loud, rumbling, and far away? You don't need louder words. You need stronger habits, Stop rehearsing the speech. Start sharpening the blade. Stop posting about the hustle. Start living it. You want change? Then move like you mean it. Strike with purpose. And let your work be so loud you never need to speak again. Gratitude doesn't need to shout to be heard. It's a soft fire that glows from within. The warrior who walks in gratitude walks with clarity, not because life is easy, but because he knows every trial forged something stronger in him. You don't have to talk about how grateful you are. Live it. Honor your breath. Respect your pain. Celebrate the scars that taught you who you are. The strongest people don't flaunt their victories. They carry them humbly, like hidden feathers in a sacred pouch. Not to show off, but to remember who they had to become to earn them. So instead of telling the world how blessed you are, let the world feel it in the way you walk, in the way you serve, in the way you never quit. Gratitude turns silence into strength, and strength into motion. You've already been given the spark. Now ignite something worth following. The buffalo runs into the storm, not away from it, because it knows the fastest way out is through. And you weren't born to flee from struggle. You were born to rise inside it. Don't talk about how tough you are. Show it when the plan falls apart, when the storm hits, when the world goes silent, and your voice is the only one you can still hear. Resilience is not in your roar. It's in your refusal to retreat. There will be days when you feel like thunder, but act like lightning. Strike fast, strike clean, strike again. And when life pushes you down, don't explain your fall. Rise without commentary, because the world doesn't need another voice talking about resilience. It needs to see it walking barefoot across fire and smiling. And when that fire tests you, when your plans burn to ash, when your name is forgotten, when no one claps and the world looks away, that is when your lightning will decide who you really are. Not in the comfort of applause, but in the furnace of silence. Because resilience is not rebounding once, it's returning relentlessly. It's rebuilding after betrayal. It's walking alone, not with bitterness, but with unwavering direction. The river carves the canyon not in rage, but in consistency. Every day it flows, every moment it moves forward, quiet, but unstoppable. So what if your journey isn't loud? What if your strength isn't on display? What if your power isn't in your voice, but in the steps you take when no one's watching? The old ones didn't seek fame. They sought harmony. They didn't chase attention. They carried wisdom. So if you want to rise, rise without warning. Let your goals remain sacred. Let your hands build in silence. Let your victories arrive like thunderclaps. After the lightning has already struck, you can't learn when you're always speaking. You can't grow when your ego fills the room. And you will never master the world until you master yourself. The blade that's never sharpened becomes dull, and so does the mind that avoids challenges. You must be willing to be wrong, to be silent, to be still long enough to listen to life itself. There's a reason the wisest don't interrupt. There's a reason the strongest don't boast. And there's a reason the most dangerous warriors are the ones who smile quietly before they strike. The storm teaches more than the sunshine ever will, but only if you stop cursing it and start learning from it. The next time pain knocks on your door, don't waste your breath screaming, "Why me?" Sit down, breathe, and listen, because wisdom doesn't shout, it whispers, and only those who've silenced the thunder in their mouths can hear it. So I'm not here to motivate you. I'm here to remind you. of what's already inside you. You don't need to speak more. You need to strike harder. You don't need more opinions. You need more execution. Let them talk. Let them trend. Let them go viral. While you go legendary. Build your fire so high it lights the path for others. Craft your discipline so sharp it cuts through every excuse. And walk so powerfully, so silently, that your footsteps speak louder than any words ever could. When others scream into the void, become the lightning that answers. Because in the end, no one remembers the man who boasted. They remember the one who acted. No one remembers the speech that was never lived. They remember the quiet soul who kept rising after every fall. The warrior who walked through storms without announcement. The builder who crafted destiny without applause. The soul who struck like lightning and left behind a legacy. So hold your thunder, sharpen your lightning, and when the time comes, don't explain, strike, because it is better to have less thunder in the mouth and more lightning in the hand.